Representative Adam Kinzinger joins us now. Good to have you with us tonight.
Thanks, Martha. Good to be here.
You know, we heard a lot of that today, that the president was, and it was from all corners, from the Washington Post, from NBC, from veteran reporters on the ground in the area, saying, you know, it's a nice picture that the president painted last night about what's going on in the world, but it's just simply not accurate. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's unicorn land. I mean, it's like, look, this is very rich language, and the president's got a great command of the English language, and it sounds nice to say it. But look, I was probably just 4 or 5 months ago now, I was in Iraq. I'm a veteran of Iraq, and I can tell you, when I left in 2009, we had won that war, and we were just in mop-up operations. Today, when I went back a few months ago, I mean, I went through these refugee camps where kids are telling me stories that are just really mind-boggling and unbelievable. You talk about Syria, you talk about the brutality, frankly, of Bashar al-Assad murdering hundreds of thousands of his own people, and then ISIS running around there. You look at what's happening in Yemen. I mean, all over the world, you know, Russia checking its neighbors. I don't know what world the president's living in. And look, I don't say that with any kind of celebration. I think it's sad when the commander-in-chief doesn't recognize the challenges that our country faces. I think it's frankly very dangerous.
But if he recognizes them, the next question is, what are you going to do about it? And the answer that the president had to that last night, it seems that his focus in terms of terrorism and what many would call Islamic terrorism is ISIS or ISIL. And the quote that he said about that last night is that we are, quote, stopping the advance of ISIL. Now, that appears to be a very carefully crafted phrase because it doesn't seem to match a lot of what's going on the ground. So what do you think he meant when he carefully said stopping the advance of ISIL, because they appear to be growing by a lot of people's estimation?
Well, I think you're exactly. I think he has decided that for the next 2 years, he's going to manage the ISIL threat. He's going to hope that they don't, you know, the Iraqi government fall apart. He's going to hope they don't expand into other countries. He's going to manage this problem and punt the issue to the next president of the United States. I mean, look, the reality is when he takes ground troops off the table, and I'm not advocating for large ground troops yet, but when he takes that off of the table, he says, okay, either the existence of ground troops are worse or the existence of ISIL is worse. And when you take troops off the table, you're saying we want to destroy ISIS unless it means we have to put troops on the ground, in which we're not willing to do that.
Yeah,
so. Look, I don't know where he's at on this, and it's frankly disappointing and disheartening. You know,
when you hear the stories and you talk about what children tell you, and it does harken back, and Dana Milbank of the Washington Post made this point today, to 1938 when Churchill wrote While England Slept. And Milbank said today, are we going to look back at the State of the Union 2015 and call it While America Slept? When you think about teenagers being slaughtered in the street for watching a soccer game, crucifixions. I mean, there's a global issue out here that we really heard no urgency on last night whatsoever.
So Bill Clinton said his greatest regret in 8 years of office was failure to intervene in Rwanda and watch a genocide occur. I'm afraid that America is going to look back and see that we had a war that was won in Iraq and look back and say we wanted to retreat within our own borders. I mean, isolation is over. That's an obsolete theory anymore. That we're going to look back and say we didn't do enough. And meanwhile, innocent people, look, the Iraqi people, for the most part, are very innocent, very, you know, moderate. They're being brutalized by this terrible group ISIS, and the president is not showing the kind of American leadership that we've known for 50 years. It's sad. I really feel like he's reversed in 50 years what it's taken America he's reversed in just a few years what it's taken America 50, 60 years to develop.
Well, we think about what you and so many fought for in Mosul and Fallujah, both of those fallen to ISIS, and it really is a lot of steps backwards in Iraq. Thank you so much, Representative. Good to have you with us tonight.
You bet. Thanks.